Now, quite unusually, we have somebody on stage with us today who has no yachting experience, who is not from our industry. And I think in this branding conversation, it's quite an important one because we are a really small, very niche part of the marketing branding world. So we welcome Michael, who works with big brands outside of yachting, and Dan, who most of you know is a designer and he's actually a new brand of yachts, but we'll get there in a minute. So let's just have a quick chat. Introduce yourselves to our audience so they can understand more about you than I do, and we'll get on with our conversation.
Okay, Dan Lenard from Nuvolari Lenard. We are a specialized design company for large yachts based in Venice, Italy.
Yeah, Michael, my profession is being a professional storyteller. So we do it for a couple of brands, like Lucie said, out of the car industry, Kia, headphone companies, Deutsche Telekom, variety of brands. Additionally, besides the agency, I'm running a network of agencies across Europe.
Okay, so, well, as I mentioned in the introduction, if you look at other luxury branding, it's very different from how we brand ourselves in the yacht world. If you look at fashion brands, if you look at automotive brands, it's very different. Let's just talk about our out of yachting. Let's talk about our mainstream luxury brands, Michael. How do you think that they work their branding in a different way than we do in our small niche here? From your perspective.
Yes, I think the first question is why it's relevant to be a brand. So you can buy a handbag for 30 euros right down the street here, or you can buy a Gucci bag for 30,000 euros. So makes sense to be a brand because you can make much more money. So that's why it's relevant to be a brand. Our goal is not even creating a brand, but creating a love brand. So a brand which is really part of your everyday life, which helps you and is surrounding you, and especially the Gucci's and Pradas, they make it pretty well, creating a big story about their products. And it's not about the product itself anymore, and Dan and I were talking about it earlier. It's the momentum to belong to a certain community and show with a Gucci bag that you belong to this, yes, you're a part of this community, and it's beyond the product, it's about the story.
Yeah, all of these purchases are emotional purchases. I guess we all want to be slightly tribal in how we buy. How do you feel about that?
You know, yachting is in position that every other luxury sector envies us, and we don't see it from the inside. We are by default making luxury products. We don't even have to convince the market we are in a luxury business. Mm-hmm. Whereas all the other luxury products on the world are based on a storytelling. As Michael said, a bag by default is not a luxury product. It becomes a luxury product through branding. Otherwise, there is rather no difference between a $30 and a $30,000 bag. Mm-hmm. Yachts are luxury objects. You don't even have to communicate that. And if we look at the branding in yachting, we are actually really 30 years behind anybody else in any other luxury segment, because we are not even aware of the potential of the branding that lies in the yachting itself, just because we are where we are.
We can be a bit of an echo chamber, can't we, sometimes when it comes to talking. We look inwards rather than outwards. I guess it's the nature of having something that's so customizable, so high luxury, and there's nothing comparable. We don't necessarily look out into the rest of the world to bring in their expertise.
Well, I think that, yachting is, yacht builders, yachting itself is very focused on the product. It takes enormous energy to even build a yacht for everybody, for the most expert yachts or for the beginners. That energy takes most of the resources away, and at the end, the majority of the branding is based on the product that comes out, So to push ahead the name, the brand itself, there's hardly any time and resource for that, actually. And we have really, we have to rethink our position in this, because we are on the level of most hidden sectors on the world. You know, if you think that people know about yachting, you are quite wrong. You know, if you take 8 billion people on the world, everybody knows what a hypercar is, and from these 8 billion people, very small percentage even know about the existence of yachting. They think that is something really happening somewhere like close to NASA project or something, you know, something really hidden and rare, you know, but it's not.
Well, people can't aspire to have something they don't know about. I think that's a very valid point. And actually, when we talked about that yesterday, we had a brief conversation. When we think about other luxury brands, they're all designer-led. And of course, our branding in our industry seems to be very builder-led. So, you know, you think about the Prada, that's a woman, Armani, a man. These are people, these are the designers, and that's the people align themselves with that design, that product. And in yachting, it's really not the case. We know the lessons and the friendships, but the wider world don't, but they don't know the designers. That's curious, isn't it?
Well, yeah, that's quite a special thing. The designers have been pushed in a second row, under the second spotlight, because the product and the shipyard is dominating it as it is right now. And I think that is actually going to change, because every luxury product from any other sector, industry, is actually design-based. Even the perfume bottle. You know, you are selling perfume, but perfume you can't design visually. Mm-hmm. It's a scent. So you have to design a bottle, you know. So everything is based on design. Design makes brands today, you know, and the storytelling around the design, you know.
Yeah, I fully agree. So I think in a highly competitive market, for example, the car industry, you need to find angles which are the differentiator to other brands. And design is one of the key elements to be different from other brands. So, for example, we work for Studio FH Porsche, the design studio of Porsche, and a lot of brands coming to that studio to upgrade their existing products and make them, with the Porsche world vibe, more attractive. And with Porsche, for example, and I know that you're a Porsche fan, actually they do both. So they develop the engineering plus the design. And that's, in my opinion, it's one of the best things how you can do it. And for example, our client Kia now with the new electric fleet, they worked with a German designer back in the days, but they hired a new designer, second designer to be honest, to prepare Kia for a globalized world. It's a Korean company, but they put a strong focus on new design and not a completely new design, but a development of design. I think that always works best when you develop your brand, make it fresh, keep some momentum, which has been there, heritage, of course, but constantly train it with new design, which is not only a facelift, but really put some new things on it, and then design can be a real key changer for a brand.
Yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? How do you think that we can take those lessons and apply them to our industry so that things are more defined in a branding style, so that we can see some more branding styling rather than just the names that we know? Well,
let's look at first on what the current branding is based on, you know. Mm-hmm. Generally, the same word that is all the time appearing is quality. But let's be honest, I mean, there is quality in every yacht, you know. Mm-hmm. There is very small level of differences, you know, from what we will say like a reasonable quality and high quality, and it depends on money you pump into the development. But we don't have to fight the problem of quality. But we still are building all our branding on quality. Our boats are quality. Our boats are reliable. Our boats work. You know, we don't have to communicate what's already obvious. You know, for that kind of money, you expect some quality, no matter what shipyard, no matter what product, you know, what type of a yacht. You know?
Absolutely.
So the second one is the size. Unfortunately, we are at the basics, no? So we know very well the shipyards that do very big boats, you know. And then you know, there are some products that are actually design-based. And how do you actually recognize that the brand has been successful more than just being based on a product, yachting brand? We have an old saying, don't we? No, I mean, a good brand you can basically put on a woman's purse. No,
Yeah.
it doesn't really matter
Which one it is.
Absolutely.
You know, it could be the final destination of a proper luxury brand in yachting is that you could basically brand just about anything, and we have the base for that. We are, as I say, the rest of the luxury segments of the world luxury production envy us our position, but they are laughing at us at the same time because we could so easily develop every yachting brand into the high-end brand that could market basically everything from their own pillows and sheets, you know, because they are on that boat.
Absolutely.
You know, it's the boat giving value basically almost to anything that is on the boat, you know, and we don't work on that, you know. We are just kind of focusing, obviously, on the complexion of the product itself, you know, which is not an easy thing to overcome. I must always say that kudos to all the shipyards that are able to do these complex products, put them in the water, and actually make them operate. You know, this is we are the fastest prototype development industry on the world. You know, nobody else can develop such a complex object in such a short time as the yachting industry does. No, we have to face that, and this is never being said. You know, I mean, we can build from scratch something so complex in 3, 4, 5 years. We all know that when the new S-Class from Mercedes hits the market, the next one is already not only developed, they are already testing it, you know, because they need years to put it on the market. They are slow. Of course, part of that is going to the production because it's going to be a serial production product. But that's coming with the special segments of that company. It's not the product itself, but we are much faster.
That's true. I hadn't even thought about that, to be honest with you. So the idea that we could have any shipyard can brand anything.
I mean, we should be able to do that with the base we have, no? If you are thinking, we are making the most expensive product in the life of any of our clients that he bought without a need for it, you know? So that's a real luxury, right? I mean, we're not talking about the home or a real estate investment, but let's face it, I mean, when you are buying a rubber dinghy for 150,000 euro, which is equivalent to a high-end quality car, that means that even that dinghy is a luxury product, isn't
Absolutely.
it? No? It's a rubber boat with outboard engines. Doesn't mean any luxury from our aspect from inside of this industry, but think of how these clients are actually looking on what they are buying. When they're spending million, 5 millions, 10 millions, 30 millions, up to, our last boat was 400 millions, we did a boat for 500 million, you know, I mean, are we even aware of what we are talking about here, you know?
It's a really, I don't think we are. It's actually really, this is a really interesting discussion because I don't think the marketeers are even caught up, have they?
And yet we think that the 30, 40,000 euro woman bag is a luxury, like high-end luxury. 3 million hypercar is like the ultimate luxury. What is that for a mega yacht market? Nothing. You don't buy a visible thing on a boat with 3 million, you know?
That's true. That's true. I mean, they said we looked yesterday, didn't we, at the production of cars, of Bentleys versus something else, and the amount, the tiny amount.
Well, let's just because I mean, branding is very easy to understand if we relate it to products we all know, because obviously we all know yachting, but this is us in this room. But let's see how other people are perceiving it. We were all born at the time when Bentley and Volkswagen were all at the market, right? Today, of course, they are in the same group, but everybody knows Bentley, and everybody knows Volkswagen, of course. But do you know on what kind of a different level the branding of these two companies is made? I mean, Volkswagen builds 6.6 million cars a year it's really inevitable to know this brand, no?
Yeah.
Bentley does 13,000 cars a year. 13,000 cars were passing on this road from morning till evening. That's all the Bentley year production, you know?
It's
and
incredible.
yet, we consider Bentley a luxury brand, a brand that has capacity to be branding an armchair, a hotel, a resort, you know. Everything luxury is related to Bentley as a brand,
Yeah.
and it's 13,000 cars. It's nothing. In terms of profit, is nothing, and all the Bentley production is basically worth one Superyacht built in northern Germany, you know.
Yeah. When you look at it like that, the scale quite unbelievable, isn't it? We were looking at the figures last night, like it's kind of mind blown. From your perspective, this must look like a very, very strange world when we're talking about what we're talking about here.
No, so we also work for Maserati, so it's and hook up with Gucci once in a while. So what we believe, so there's a challenge a new challenge in building a brand because the subline is globally market. So the question is how to create a new Bentley. So a couple of brands became big when there was no social media, so when marketing was really different. And now we're challenging a globalized world with different cultures, with different communities, and the challenge or opportunity of TikTok, social, Instagram, Twitch. And so this is a new level and how to create brands. And for example, our approach is that we screen and analyze a brand with the triple C's, which we call creativity, culture, and community. And the first thing is that we look into the product, the brand, existing brand or development brand, what cultures are they targeting? And cultures are very different to see. So it's different cultures. Right now I'm from Berlin, I'm now in Istanbul, it's a different culture. But cultures can also be, am I in a luxury world, am I in a fishing world, am I in the car industry, am I in hip-hop, am I in the movie world, do I want to be part of the Cannes Film Festival? So this is something where we look, what is the perfect culture to contribute, to be a part of, because this is strengthens your focus and branding, saves money, makes it more efficient when you really focus on one special culture. For example, we work for a Chinese headphone company called Shocks. They go 100% on sports because it's a new headphone technology which you can use while you're running, while you're cycling, and they go 100% on sports. And the next step is then, how can we be part of a community? So, because when you're part of a community and create the right stories together with the community, for example, if it's running, when it's Shocks or with Kia, we created for them the ecosystem of board culture. So, for example, with Kia, the claim is movement that inspires. That's the overall claim of Kia. We look for cultures and communities which deliver movement that inspires but got nothing to do with cars. So in the first place, why? So then we created a great movement is snowboarding, surfing, and skateboarding. And we hooked up Kia European-wide or globally together with different board culture. In Austria, they hook up with snowboarders. In France, with surfers. In Germany, too. And the very easy thing is we give athletes the car for 6 months or for a year, and they drive with this car, of course, to the best beaches in the world, to best snowboard places in the world, and they are part of a community. And these athletes, creators, influencers, ideally, if they are niche influencers, they got a community is 100% loyal to these athletes. And this is the best conversion for a brand to be part of these communities because they build trust. And trust is one of the best selling arguments, in my opinion. And this is where we, besides the first step, find the right culture, we go into this community and then make your content and the stories as much creative as you can get, which is not only a drone flight, but be part of these communities, because these communities and cultures knows the right codes. For example, with another headphone company, we are part of the fishermen's industry. So there are super YouTube influencers with millions of fans who are professional fishermen. So, and when we liaise with these people, the fans of these athletes, creators are much more willing to buy a product and as if they would not be a part of the community. And if they get recommended by a friend, so they see, the fans see a superstar or in this case a fisherman like a friend, and that really relates to the brand, and people are more willing to buy a product. So this is our strategy, how we do it.
The influencer strategy is an interesting one in yachting, and I think there's lots of different schools on whether that works or not. But many of you may know David Seal, who was with us last year. And David, he has a huge YouTube channel, and he's, yacht owners watch YouTube. And I think it's something we all forget sometimes. People are still shopping online in the way that everybody's shopping now, differently, but still watching YouTube videos, still Googling and still looking online. I don't know how how do you think influencers work in our industry, Dan? Do you think it's a strategy that's universal that could work in yachting, the kind of influencer buying?
Absolutely. Today, maybe a future owner, is already on social media, maybe not, but his kids are.
Yeah.
So they are the opinion leaders of the family on what's good and what's bad, the kids. Mm-hmm. I mean, you will see more and more often that children will be the one pushing for a product through the image that they get through the social media, and the parents are educated actually by the opinion of their children as far as who's who and what's what.
Yeah.
Because today a proper businessman, how much time does he have to buy all those magazines, being in the old-fashioned way, or watching TV or watching documentaries? Maybe he swipes quickly through the social media or not. Wife does more often, not to be misogynic here, but more often. Mm-hmm. But definitely kids do. So social media is an enormous builder of awareness of the presence of any of our brands, even in yachting industry, And it's funny that it was seen as a profane part of it, no, we are so luxurious, we are so important. Social media is for bags and sneakers, It's not.
But it's not, and I think that's the other thing as well, isn't it? Like videos online, you want to see a yacht move. You don't just want to see a still image. The whole point is that you want to see it in the water.
Look, we use Instagram as a statistics of the quality of our work, We call the boat Instagrammable. Why? Because if it's popular, it's going to be popular not because yachties, people interested in yachting, are going to make shots of the boat. Any kind of a person will make a picture, a snapshot with the phone of something they like.
Yeah.
And that is not related anymore to communication of the industry toward people. It's people communicating back to the industry what is interesting and what is not. And I think it's a free tool to understand where your product is. I mean, if they know you on social media, that's because your product kind of stimulates people that have absolutely no clue what they're looking at. They are out there on the anchor, but they do a shot because it's nice,
Yeah, you've become Insta-famous.
Exactly.
Yeah, and such a global reach there.
Yeah, and another trend is, so the one big trend, of course, is using social media. In that case here, I guess Instagram is one of the best, but Porsche is doing pretty well on TikTok. So with totally new content, also with AI content. Another trend is what we do for Maserati right now is bringing together only 50 people without any social media, but bring together inspiring people of different genres. So that's what we really love, to bring together, for example, Maria von Scheel-Pleasant. She's the IMEA director of Gucci. and or an art designer from a Berlin underground brand. So we're bringing these people together in one room, of course with potential buyers of a new Maserati. We'll do it in 3 weeks again in the Italian embassy in Berlin. But it's a totally different route, 30, 50 great people inspiring each other and going home with the feeling, I learned something new because I met this crazy girl doing crazy fashion in a suburb in Berlin, or Maria from Gucci. So this is a new trend, what we're working on, which is, and I guess it's also a general thing what works in the luxury industry, bring together inspiring people.
Absolutely. Just going to throw it out there to the audience. Anyone out there have any branding questions? Yes, can we get a mic over here for me, please? Because, yeah, I know there's going to be definitely some questions for you guys. Takes a little while for the mics, doesn't it? I probably should talk amongst ourselves.
But we haven't bring any solutions. So
no, I know.
So,
I know, but look at the
such
time.
a short time. Yeah.
I know.
So,
we want solutions.
I would want to.
I want to do solutions too. Yeah. Right, okay. Hello.
Hi, this is Dennis from Trio. My question is to Dan. Dan, your designs have been built all around the world in the top shipyards in different geographies. And I know that you're currently involved in building boats in Turkey as well. So as brands, also countries have certain images and brands. For example, building a boat in Netherlands entails a certain brand, and it's different in Italy. What do you think is the brand of Turkey in the Superyacht building? What is Turkey known for, or what are the downfalls and the opportunities for Turkish building from a branding perspective as building a boat, building a Superyacht in Turkey?
Well, I wouldn't put any name out because I think Turkey has exactly the same problem that most of the world in yachting has, you know, as far as branding. And Turkey has even one more disadvantage. Being a new player is obviously stigmatized by all the other industry and being basically bullied, you know. Oh, that's Turkey. Oh, that's low quality. And that's basically the only thing that they can actually say, because it's not something you can control unless you step on a boat and you see the quality of the product itself. So it's a kind of a chit-chat bullying from the rest of the industry. But this can be overcome because basically, as I said before, brands are built really on design. And it's not that I'm saying that because I'm a designer, but the design is the first thing that actually gives a character to a brand, no? And unfortunately, in this industry, we have to take under every contract we get. And even the biggest brands, the biggest yards, the most known brands will build hopefully something nice if the client has that kind of a wish, but they will also take in a project that maybe is not that nice just because they have to do it. They cannot decline a product. We are not having that luxury to choose, I'm not going to build that boat because it's bad for my shipyard brand, you know. So one thing that we have to do is to educate people to push on design. Because if they come to us with requests for something beautiful, that beautiful will give us a return to our brand, you know? Speaking from the shipyard position, not just from the designer position. One of the ways that we are exploring right now with the Turkish shipyard, Mengiay, is let a designer be a brand on the product, you know? Yeah. And the shipyard is a builder of that product, you know? It sounds almost heretic in yachting, but look at the luxury products we are facing in other segments. They all, most of them, there's never all, but most of them are actually the designer name. Porsche is designer name. Armani is designer name, Valentino, Gucci, all these are designer names. Harley Davidson, it's a person that built those bikes, you know. I mean, okay, we have that in yachting industry, and funny-wise, is the most known brand, Riva. It was a designer's product, you know. Carlo Riva designed his boats. He's 30 years ahead with the marketing. I mean, his product is unfortunately gone. But Riva is the only undiscussable luxury brand in yachting. Undiscussable. You can put it on a woman's bag. You would have a Riva woman's bag, no?
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, people wear the phone covers from Riva. They haven't seen a Riva at all, but they like the thing of it.
Yeah,
you know?
they're nice.
Maybe they were never on a boat. They know it from far. They say, oh, it's a nice boat.
Yeah.
Well, it's a very designed boat, so there is hardly any Riva is ugly. I mean, ugly doesn't even exist. All the boats are beautiful. But, I mean, they are really paying attention that the design is their primary concern. And that's how they are beefing, empowering the brand, you know. But, okay, that's Riva. But we all have this capacity, you know. Yeah. We all have this capacity. Otherwise, there would be only one fashion designer. But there are hundreds. There would be only one bag designer, but there are hundreds, no? So why there should be only Riva, you know? With all our yards here, I mean, there is space that all these shipyards build up an undiscussable luxury brand. So, as I say, one thing that we are doing right now is we are giving the designer name to the product. So the product is branded as the designer's product, together with the shipyard, obviously, you know, because you need the background. You can't say, I'm building it in a barn as a designer. No, there is a reputable shipyard with a family history that does this, no? And this is definitely both aspects needed, no? Second is that yards pay more attention to the design of their objects, you know? I mean, how can they do that? Instead of waiting clients to come in with the designs, the yards should stimulate the market with concepts, but buildable concepts. Let's be honest. I mean, the world is full of unbuildable concepts from a chicken designer that is actually...
There's a lot of concepts
and that's something we should be facing. But, you know, you could definitely build more of a brand by stimulating where your brand would most likely have to go according to your expectations, you know? And the third one, which is happening, but very rarely, is that the boat, already being very well designed, is actually perceiving the marketing from the owner, from the visionary owner. I'll give you an example. You know Kismet.
I do know Kismet.
Kismet is not marketed by Lursen. Kismet is marketed by the owner. Yeah. But this marketing is fantastic because he made a brand out of Kismet. The Kismet brand is almost surpassing the Lursen brand on the product.
It's the only one that people know the name of, isn't it? It's the one, yeah.
Or you build something so exceptional, so different, so undiscussably out of the market. I like to talk about our projects, like Nord. Nord became a brand of itself, you know. I mean, you don't have to say anything, just Nord. You know, that's enough. You know?
Was it Bill Springer who called it a warship in a tuxedo? Because I thought that was the most fantastic.
Well, that's my.
Was that you? Okay.
Of course. I mean, we develop always an image behind the boat. No? So the warship wearing a tuxedo was our invention. You know, my invention, really, actually.
And I think to add to your question from my perspective, from the story perspective, I think there's a huge opportunity to collaborate with other Turkish brands out of the luxury industry. So there are great fashion brands, hook up with the tourism board to bring more people to the great places. Pamukkale we know, but you know much more interesting places, the secret, the cool places. There are great stores here in Istanbul. So one possibility is really to collaborate with other luxury brands to really uplift the Turkish brand and yacht industry in general via collaborations. So that's one thing. And
Co-branding, actually.
Co-branding,
Co-branding, yeah.
That's one of the easiest way, and feel yourself as a premium brand. So it's also kind of the mindset. So if you see yourself as a top luxury brand, then you are a luxury brand. So these are the two things: co-branding and mindset.
Excellent. As we had any other questions? Yeah, one more over there, please.
Thank you. Meili Lepik from Holistic Yacht Interiors. The branding topic actually becomes more and more of a topic in operations as well. And that's interesting when the design of the boat is ready and out there and being built, and during the setup of the interior or when the crew is coming and all the preparation for the delivery, the way we continue that design in the form of branding actually becomes very important. So it can be incorporated to uniforms, the initial welcome package for the crew, leaflets, the way we have the logo or all the visuals, design visuals incorporated for the AVIT solutions when we're later presenting the itinerary or the programs for the guests and the owners. And also signage, wayfinding, these all can be incorporated to the branding of the yacht. And when we talk about like the crew retention or attracting right candidates, then of course people talk. And if you can market also for the crew sector, the boat as something which is standing out, like you mentioned, Dan, the Kismet or Nord or like Apo, I would bring as well, then people really want to be part of it. And they feel that they have included into that branding and they take that pride.
Thank you.
Well, that's obviously true, but we are still talking within our little cluster of industry. Of course, crew is part of the story. They're proud of being on this yacht rather than, that's the reference. No, I was the crew on Apo. You know, you say that, no, if you're part of the crew team. But it's within the industry, it doesn't communicate out of the industry. I'm talking more about how we should communicate out of the industry. And I would just go back to the third option, knowing that the resources are low, because it takes so much energy and money and time to build this boat. At least initial marketing for the brand building could be done together with the owners.
Yeah.
They are your next tool. They are your private agency. And if guided properly, you would only need to instruct them properly how to present that product, you know? And, that means probably hiring a marketing expert that tells a story to the owners, so owners is telling it ahead, you know? Otherwise, we always end up in a situation where owner is just saying, oh, it's a high quality build, you know, but okay, that's owner to owner. But what about the rest of the world? They don't see that, they don't understand that, they don't perceive that as a luxurious part of the branding. What they do is a boat going onto a nice place, having a good material being done and published, you know, and how can you stimulate owners to do that? First, they are already on your side. They're proud. They're proud of being part of your story. They own your boat, your product. They're happy with the design. They love it. So take this inertia and stimulate them to market that, you know? So they will be your first storyteller around for free.
Absolutely.
Fantastic.
They will pay their own drone and photographer, which they basically do, half of them. They make their own photos that are much better than the Shipyard photos.
Yeah,
no?
publish a book.
And publish them on the social media, for example.
Absolutely.
No? So that's the way to go, you know, definitely, you know. And those are your best ambassadors to build a luxury brand. The behavior of the boat after it is delivered is actually building the brand not the moment you show it on the boat show. I can say that from my designer perspective, from the moment we present a yacht to the moment that the boat gets a little bit known within the industry and then out of it, it takes almost a year. So that's how slow this process is when the world, the rest of the world out of this industry actually gets aware of the new yacht, you know?
Yeah, it takes a while. I love the idea of having owner brand ambassadors. It makes so much sense. It's a simple concept, but I've never heard anyone say it out loud before. I think it's fascinating.
It's happening, but basically on the owner's initiative, not on the stimulation of the shipyards. Shipyards sometimes step aside next to the owner and help a little bit or not, because they're focused on the next product, and it's really, as I say, time-consuming, energies are all there, that's gone. And that thing, that's gone, is actually the worst enemy of our industry, you know, because we are forgetting about the product too often after we have delivered it, you know.
When it really starts its journey, and it's
when it
and
really
it's
starts
live,
its journey, and when the market really it's starting, yeah.
Fascinating. Right, I think we have completely overrun our time slot. So one more question then, before I get told off. Please.
We have desperate signs from the...
Oh.
I know.
The lunch is getting cold.
I know. One more question, Lisa.
It's not actually a question, I just wanted to add to the different points, and because I take care of charter, I think it's also important to show what the product can do. And linked to the storytelling, we need to show more the experience of what having or chartering a yacht means. So some are already doing it very well on social media especially, but to show the destinations and exploring new grounds and just what total freedom a yacht can offer. And this is part of changing the image as well, that probably to the public sometimes is just seen as a very expensive asset, also polluting one, so not always seen in a positive way. But by offering the experience to the public, we can, in my opinion...
I fully agree. So the one key angle of storytelling is to tell the story of the emotion. So what emotion happens when you see the boat the first time? What emotion happens when you're sailing out with the boat? So it's a lot about freedom, and this is something what you have to put in your story, the emotion the product or the brand gives the new client.
Absolutely. And I don't think there is a more emotive purchase than a yacht, is it? It's all emotion.
It's all emotion.
Absolutely. Well, thank you guys for joining us. We are going to wrap this up, and thank you, Michael. Thank you, Dan. Cheers, guys. Thanks.
Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you.
Much appreciated.
Thank you. No, absolutely.